When you want to go big, start with the biggest. The 180-meter-long Azam is so big that it's only dwarfed by the 184.5-meter Rev Ocean, a research vessel. It took 4 years to take 4,000 people, over $500 million, and turn it into the superest of super yachts. The Azam, however, is meant to research how much you can stuff into a fast boat. In fact, the biggest wasn't the original plan. Originally meant to come in at a relatively modest 145 meters, the list of accommodations, and the desire for the ship to be fast, collided. Nauta Design, better known for their sailing yachts, were given the task of creating the exterior, and after some optimizations, everything fit in 180 meters with only a 4.5 meter draft. And it is fast. 2 gas turbines pushed the yacht to 33 knots, making it not only the biggest, but the fastest super yacht. If you're trying to go for distance and aren't concerned with the speed, another pair of diesel engines can take over at a modest 18 knots, with enough range to make an Atlantic crossing. Most of the interior details haven't been revealed, except that it uses a lot of carved wood and a year's worth of a mother-of-pearl production. There is more than one way to become the biggest, like becoming the tallest. That is until a bridge in Amsterdam can be disassembled, but more on that later. Bearing the simple name Sailing Yacht A, the $400 to $600 million yacht comes in at 142.81 meters. But where it's really got it going are on its massive carbon fiber masts. Topping off at 100 meters from the waterline, it's advertised that the masts are the tallest and most highly loaded freestanding composite structure in the world. I wonder what the previous tallest and most highly loaded freestanding composite structure was. Did they know? Once you've impressed your 20 or so guests with how tall your boat is, they can enjoy the 8 decks of accommodation, like the bottom deck that includes a glass observation pod. There's also the regular assortment of smaller watercraft you can get on to zoom around your larger one, including a submarine. The ship takes a crew of 54, but there's no need for deckhands with massive forearms pulling on ropes to adjust the sails. Raising and lowering and dropping the anchor are all done with the push of a button. But you can hum a little sea shanty while it happens if you want. One way to be the biggest is to have everyone else not know there's a competition. Part of what kept Egypt's El Marousa as the longest ship for over 100 years. Commissioned for an unknown price in 1865 by the Ottoman governor of Egypt, Khedive Ismail, they looked to the Samuda brothers and tapped the man who designed Queen Victoria's first steam yacht. It started life at 146 meters. In 1872, it lost its paddle and gained 12 meters. 1905 saw another 5-meter growth spurt to fit better engines. Inside, it was designed to reflect the richness of all the cultures that have been a part of Egypt, including a grand pharaonic hall, complete with hieroglyph-covered wall decorations. Ismail used the yacht to invite the rulers of Europe to come check out the newly built Suez Canal, which the El Marousa was the first to go through, and maintains that role when expansions are built. It also appears to be the last ride out of town for deposed Egyptian leaders, taking 3 out of Egypt and into exile, including the one who commissioned it in the first place. It remained the biggest boy on the block all the way to 1980, when Prince Abdulaziz beat it out. It remains in the top 10 largest yachts today. It went from royal yacht to presidential yacht to a brief stint as a museum before being restored in 1992. When not christening the Suez Canal, it makes its home in Alexandria. One way to make your big thing seem small is to make a smaller version of a bigger thing out of a smaller thing. Wait, big, then small, then big, yeah, that checks out. In 2008, the 155-meter Al Said was delivered to Sultan Qaboos bin Said with the look of a traditional cruise ship for an unknown sum thought to be anywhere between $300 to $600 million. That figure will probably start sounding familiar, as the details of these floating mansions are rarely released, including the final build price, so estimators have to go by the parts of the boats we do know about. For instance, this swanky water skimmer with its 22-knot cruising speed includes a 50-person movie theater and a concert hall big enough for a 50-piece orchestra. There's also a helipad to get that orchestra on and off. It has accommodations for 70 with a crew of 154. To make the special even less special, the Al Said is part of the Oman Royal Yacht Squadron that contains 5 massive yachts and 2 regular-sized ones, with a complement of 150 people. Bet you didn't think you were going to hear the term Yacht Squadron. Generally speaking, to get to number 2 on the list of biggest, you have to get past. And that's exactly what happened to the $500 million, 162.5-meter yacht Eclipse. Design fell to Terry Trisdale, who has over 100 yacht designs under his belt, with 50 of them being over 45 meters or longer, including Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's 92.4-meter Tatouche yacht. Trisdale had a short brief for the craft. It needed a big pool, and the owner wanted to be able to land 2 helicopters on it, because why not? Trisdale's design philosophy is beach house, not penthouse, saying if you're sitting in a silk-lined dining area with a t-shirt and shorts, you're not going to feel right. So the 15-meter long pool with a large deck area has a slide-out grill and pizza oven. The glass walls can be retracted to the open air or closed off when the weather isn't as on board with your swimming as you are. Maybe swimming isn't your thing at the moment and you want to do some dancing. The blue granite pool floor can be raised up for a wading pool or flush the deck to become a dance floor. If you need to work up a sweat, there's a 77 square foot gym on the other side of the wall. The ship's 9 decks have commissioned works of art that contribute to the opulence, but also help you know where you are. Don't think the beach house, not penthouse thing means plastic and vinyl though. The 18 onboard suites include black wood with silver rubbed into the grain and buffalo leather. Another super yacht looking to get in on the biggest by way of specificity is the yacht Dilbar, with the largest interior volume of any yacht, on the argument that it's not the length, it's what you do with it. Fitted out for an estimated $800 million to a cool $1 billion, it also contains the largest swimming pool installed on any yacht. If a swimming pool on a yacht seems silly because you're already on the water, the one on the boat presumably has no sharks in it. And if you fall asleep on your floaty, you won't find yourself lost at sea when you wake up. The 3,800 square feet of living space includes a garden complete with a lawn using saltwater-resistant grass. 36 guests are tended by 96 crew members. 6 engines pump out 40,000 horsepower for a top speed of 22.5 knots and a cruising speed of 16 using a diesel-electric setup. Naturally, you don't just make one massive yacht and call it a day. And if you get into the record books, then everyone comes to you for a big old yacht. Such is the case with the Zom designer Lursen Yachts, who also penned the $500 million 142-meter yacht Nord. The Nord has a lot of what you expect, like a massive helicopter deck with a hangar, and the 16-tender water toy garage, with space for a 16-foot submarine, or an ROV, or remote-operated vehicle, and submarine for unmanned exploration. If that seems out of place, this will help it make more sense. It's built atop of an ice-breaking bow for real exploration. The 4 decks contain the usual accommodations like a gym and sauna, and 25-meter pool, with one of the decks set aside entirely for the owner. You'd think having millions of dollars that allows you to spend $200 million on a yacht would cover any insecurities, or keep you from trying to make sure you still have the biggest. And yet, during the build, Larry Ellison, co-founder of Oracle, added another 18 meters to his Rising Sun yacht to make sure that its 138 meters beat out Paul Allen's Octopus yacht at 126 meters. The accommodations for 16 guests include a basketball court, wine cellar, and a boat tender. That is a catamaran that takes their off-road vehicles ashore. In 2006, media mogul David Geffen bought a half share in the vessel, then the other half in 2010. The $330 million Serene was constructed for its vodka billionaire owner under some secrecy, but since its 2010 launch, the 133-meter super yacht has been doing some light charter work to help with those $30 million a year upkeep costs. That includes clients like Bill Gates, who put down to $5 million per week to cruise off the coast of Sardinia in opulence. That includes a rock climbing wall, 2 helipads, and 3 swimming pools. If surface life is getting you down, there are underwater viewing ports. If that's not deep enough for you, there's also a submarine, good for diving 100 meters. If for some reason the fun in the sun is getting you down, there's also a snow room with a snow machine, because why not? 24 guests could take up to 12 staterooms with 54 crew members available to keep things moving. Of course, you can't get through a discussion of big yachts without addressing the elephant stuck in Amsterdam, Jeff Bezos' Project Y721. There's a lot to cover on the $500 million 127-meter hybrid super yacht. 18 guests can be attended by 40 crew members, and there's a swimming pool at one end. It has masts, so that makes a helipad tricky. Rather than going without, though, Bezos commissioned a support yacht to go with it. Reports on the size of the support boat range from 45 meters to a whopping 97 meters. Y721 is so opulent, it has a 93-meter dinghy. Of course, the headline-grabbing news for Y721 is that its 3 masts will be too tall for the 131-foot clearance offered by the historic bridge in Rotterdam that stands between the Y721 and the open sea. Bezos is paying the undisclosed cost to take the middle section out of the bridge instead of the usual practice of lowering the boat to get under it. When you want to get your sea legs on, you have to do something like charter the $400 million Flying Fox yacht, something pop royalty Beyonce and Jay-Z have done. The charter price is $4 million for a week. Chartering the Flying Fox is like going on a high-end cruise. Except instead of Bernard from Boise, who's an historical reenactor in his spare time, telling you all about it at the 24-hour buffet, it's you and 24 of your closest friends, along with 55 crew members, going wherever you want. There's even 2 kitchens, one for the crew and one for the guests. But it's the accommodations that put the super in super yacht for the Flying Fox. Naturally, there's a tender for water toys, including an elaborate system for the submarine. Gotta have the submarine. In an attempt to eclipse the eclipse, the swimming pool above the Flying Fox is even more elaborate. To save space, it's been rotated 90 degrees. Then, to keep all the water from sloshing out by the yacht going side to side, a brake wave in the middle can be installed. On one end, there are swim jets, and on the other side, massage jets for those who want to relax, while watching their friends swim against the swim jets. Over the course of 3 minutes, the pool can be converted to whatever temperature you like, from cold to hot. There's naturally a state-of-the-art gym, but then it goes that one extra step of crazy by adding a cryosauna, the first ever on a yacht. What's a cryosauna? Good question. It's a 2-chamber room where you can go from cold to freezing, from -60 degrees Celsius to -110 degrees Celsius, where you spend 3 minutes. Afterwards, you're supposed to get an endorphin rush like you just went for a run. Just gonna take their word for that one. Rather disappointingly, even though every yacht is custom built to a set of wild and sometimes confounding demands of their billionaire future owners, yachts all kind of start looking the same. Except for the dolphin-inspired $180 million Yas. At 141 meters long, the massive super yacht has a bit of a rough and tumble past. Before it became the ultimate pleasure cruiser for the elite to meet, it was the Dutch naval frigate HN LMS Plet Hein at 137 meters. She was denavied, stripped down, had some structural bits replaced with composite material, briefly went by the name Swift 141 before ending up in private hands. It wasn't just a desire to perform some elaborate swords to really gilded plowshares that had the buyer looking to a retired naval frigate. They wanted the speed and maneuverability that frigates are built for. With this narrow hull and twin Rolls-Royce turbines, the Yas can get up to a cruising speed of 25 knots and a top speed of 30 knots. You can relax on the top deck spa, complete with waterfall, or descend the spiral staircase that connects all the levels. When not being used privately, the Yas does enter the charter game, with Leonardo DiCaprio as one of their clients. Take that, you stupid ocean. You've been bested by the $300 million Ocean Victory. We'll assume it was the ocean that was getting the victory over. 25 guests can enjoy the 7-deck craft with a crew of 50 and 13 suites. If you're one of those no more than 3 to 4 people to a pool kind of person, the craft features 6 different swimming pools. If you're done doing your own swimming and want to watch the pros do it, there's an underwater observation deck. Then you can flood the tender and go out into the open ocean and join them. Beyond that, not much is known about the craft, as the details are kept hush-hush, but it does have a really cool name. Strangely, there's a really easy way to make your super yacht stand out from all the other super yachts. With their swimming pools and tender decks and gyms and fancy suites, just do what the Rolling Stones suggest and paint it black, like the $600 million Crescent. The sleek black craft sits at 135 meters and can take its 18 guests and 9 suites up to 20 knots. While on that fly, you can, well, we don't actually know. Like a lot of these things, the details are kept hush-hush. But there is one feature that would be remarkable in an office building, but is just this side of extra on a yacht. It has a 2-story glass atrium. You wouldn't want to spend $600 million on a yacht and not know it when you walk into it after all.